Greetings once again. This is Stephen J. Holliday, founder and presenter of IDM Ministries and Associations, where every day is a little more like heaven than the day before. Well, we're moving on to lesson number 2 from the Be Still series, and let's just jump right in. Um, just wanted to, I guess I'll just tell this quick story. Alyssa, my wife, she had a procedure done. Actually, she had a procedure at a certain point where it was actually the second time we've been through the procedure. The first time we'd done the procedure, Alyssa almost died. It had been done appropriately, but Alyssa has a condition that kind of runs in her family, and essentially she nearly bled out on the way home from the hospital. Um, and so that's a whole story in itself, a miraculous story that we survived. A year or two later, Alyssa had to take the same procedure again. And on this one, I was more than a little nervous, and I wanted everything done correctly. And so I took her home with the assurance of the doctors that none of the original issues would be a problem. And so I went ahead and took their word for it and took her home, but I was very concerned. So I let Alyssa rest in the house, and I promised some kids some some rewards if they'd help me out here. Okay. So the first thing I said was that I needed to go get some medication that the doctor said was absolutely essential that they get it right away. The second thing was that I would take the kids to pick up some pizza if 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 they were quiet and kept mom asleep and helped around the house to keep it peaceful. So the first stop was to the pharmacy. Well, within minutes of coming home, Alyssa was able to call and found out that there was at our normal pharmacy, there was none of the medication that we were told to get. And again, we were told 3 or 4 pills were all that was necessary, but that they needed to be taken immediately as soon as we got home. Well, the pharmacy was saying we could get it by Monday or Tuesday after the weekend, but that wasn't going to work. So I drove around begging for the medication, and I finally ended up getting it. But the whole time I'm looking, I know that our old neighborhood, had a CVS pharmacy that usually did a very good job. It was usually very quick. But I couldn't remember, and I was on the wrong side of town. We had just moved, and I wasn't in my familiar element, and I could not remember where there was. I knew there had to be a CVS in our neighborhood, but I couldn't find it, and it was driving me crazy. On top of that, I knew that I had promised the kids Little Caesars pizza if they'd help me finish all these errands. And at the end of the episode, good news, somebody at Rite Aid was able to help me find just 6 pills to get us through the weekend. Well, the following day, I needed to run some errands. Alyssa was doing fine and had a good night. So I left her there to go run a quick errand to the grocery store. So as I pull into the parking lot of the grocery store, what do I see right next door to my normal grocery store? The grocery store I've been to 100 times. Right next door is a CVS, and right next to it is a Little Caesars pizza. There they are, right in front of me. And I looked at them, I said, wow, they were right there. In fact, this is what's even worse, is that I even made the decision when I saw those in our neighborhood. You need to make a mental note, Steve. Remember that those are there, because next time you need a pharmacy or a quick trip to the pizza shop, you're going to want to know where those are. I even told myself to remember those things, and yet when the pressure was on, I didn't remember. I couldn't recall. So not only did I already know where those places were, I had even made a mental point to remember where those things were, but I didn't. The point is that sometimes we know in our heads what we think we know, but until we actually utilize them, until we actually activate those things, those tools that we think we know, we don't really know them. And it's kind of the same thing, knowledge versus experience. I can know all about how to change the oil or fix a lock on my door or whatever the task is, but if I haven't actually done it, do I really know it? And that's one question we need to ask ourselves. The other thing is the car wash. I was at a car wash the other day, and I'll be just straight up. I'm a lazy guy. If I can save up work, I will. And I respect those guys that spend 6, 8 hours out on their front lawn, waxing and polishing up their car. That's just great. I mean, I really admire that kind of dedication. For me, just knock the bugs off. That's all I need to do. That's all I need to do most of the time. And if I'm already getting a tank of gas and a couple extra bucks will get me in and out of a car wash without having to get all dirty and gross and hot and sweaty and all that, let's do it. All the better. So anyway, this is not unusual for me to go ahead and pop in an extra couple bucks and print out one of those little receipts, little piece of paper that says that I paid my fair share. Okay, and then what you do is you pull around the corner and you stop at that thing, and as long as there's nobody else in the car wash, you push in like 6 numbers, and if those are the correct numbers, your car wash will start. Now one day I was sitting there filling up my tank, ready to pull off my receipt, and I started wondering what would happen if somebody dropped their receipt. Maybe they were in too big a hurry and the wind blew it out of their hand, or maybe they put it on their glove compartment as they were planning on picking something up and they forgot, and it just sat in their car. What would happen if somebody found that number and just went ahead and utilized it? Well, the fact is, it would go ahead and work. And there are things in our lives, things that we have been promised, things that are in the Word, that are sitting right there. They've been purchased. They're right there. And yet you have to activate them in order to receive them. And then we sit around and wonder why our lives are not better or stronger or happier or moving in a progression that we'd expect. Why am I so far behind? Well, partially because maybe we haven't activated what's already ours. So anyway, you've got a little bit of a step into number 2, which is knowledge versus experience. And we're talking about from Acts 15 and 16, which has to do with, it has to do with a lot of things, but the thing I'm mainly looking at is activating your worship of God, because there are things in your life that will take place when you utilize that technique in your life. So thanks for joining. Just a real quick study. Once again, this is Be Still. If you're getting something out of this, don't hesitate to give us a note or drop us a line, either through Facebook or an email. And we look forward to hearing from you. Take care now. Bye.